If you want to yoke to me, or any ascended being for that matter, if you want to be equally yoked and in a companionship with deity, then you have to understand who you are first. You have to tap into who you are, the I am. And learning how to tap into that and stand in sovereignty, I guess, to some degree, is a required step for yoking and piercing the veil and coming into close contact with the divine. So that is actually where we're going to focus most of our attention today. I've got a couple of verses that I want to share with you guys in regards to that process. We did talk about how your higher self is limitless. It's infinite. It's made of energy. It's not made of finite matter like your body is. I mean, your body's not really finite, because those molecules that make up your physical body, they will go into the earth, back into the ground. They'll become something else and go through that eternal cycle. But to us, we feel that our bodies are finite, right? But the spirit that dwells within you is very infinite. It goes on forever and ever and ever. And a part of that spirit, not the spirit entirely, but deeply embedded in that spirit, I believe, is your essence, spiritual essence, the part of you that has no beginning and no ending. It just is. So learning how to tap into that is a tremendous power to you, because you then realize that on that level, on some level, you're infinite. You can't die. You can't run out of time. You can't be limited. You can't be diminished. Nothing can be taken from you, and you can't run out of time. If you know that on that level of the person that you're tapping into and operating from that space, there is no threat to you. Nothing can threaten you. Nothing can threaten infinity or an infinite being. And so if you learn how to become or be, in fact, I don't even like the word become. I like the word be. If you learn how to stand in the beingness of your own being, the essence of your being, then what do you have to worry about? There's no threat. Nothing can threaten you. So knowing that brings you a tremendous amount of operating ability and power. Joseph Smith said, if men do not comprehend the character of God, they do not comprehend themselves, and vice versa. I believe if you don't comprehend yourself, you can never tap into the comprehension of God. So if you want to know the mind and will of God, get to know you first. That's how it happens. Your I am is the higher part of you that exists largely without you knowing it. It's the part of you that is divine and godly, has the potential and the capability of lining completely with God beings like Christ. It is the part of you that holds the memories before this life. It knows who you are, why you are, and where you're going. The person you know yourself to be in the physical body is likely a fallen version of that, or a convoluted version of that, or something a little more limited. John 17 says, we learn how Christ lived this life in the I am and the higher self continually. It says that they all may be one, as thou, Father, art in me and I in thee, that they also may be one in us, that the world may believe that thou hast sent me. Powerful truths. There's a whole bunch of those here. I'm going to type up a handout for you guys. I've given you some 1, 2, 3, 4, like 5 or 6 verses that will back up a lot of these concepts, verses from Holy Writ, if that interests you in your studies. So, but there's some challenges to overcome if we're going to learn how to fully and completely stand in the true sovereignty and solidarity of our I am. Nobody in the universe has the right to prevent you from standing in your higher self and operating on your soul's true path. Nobody has that right. Nobody does. And so if you have people in your life that are trying to do that are trying to push you out of your kingdom or out of your sovereign place, push you over, or if you're doing that, if you're trying to push others over or fix them or make them do something, say something, or think something, then you need to do some inner work and check in on why you're needing to do that, or why you're allowing someone to do that to you. So standing in our sovereignty actually comes at a great price. You have to be willing to call people out. You have to be willing to stand up. You have to be willing to exercise agency and choose for yourself where you're going and what you're going to do. I had a conversation with the Lord about a month or so ago, and he's like, stop blaming everything on me. Stop going around telling everybody, oh, God made me do this, or the Lord said to do this, and I'm being told this. He's like, stop it. You are a sovereign being. So you're choosing these things. This is not all on me. You cannot put this all on me. He's like, you stand in your solidarity, in your sovereignty, and you make the choices you're going to make. And I will back you, and I will support you, and I will guide you. But this is on you. This is your life. It's your path. It's your progression. It's your responsibility, not mine. Some of the common thoughts and emotions that come up. Let's make a list. You guys can tap it into the chat, or you can unmute your mics and let's just share for a few minutes. Let's just start thinking about what are some of the things in life that prevent you from standing in the solidarity as the king or queen of your own kingdom? What is pulling you out of that space? Are they your thoughts, your beliefs? Are there other people doing that or projecting onto you? Let's talk about that for a minute. Shalise says fear. Good. Fear is a big one. And that's truth. You really don't have any power when you stand in fear. It's very disempowering. And I think that that is really why it's one of the most genius aspects of how darkness gets in and takes over and wants to control the narrative. They can do that pretty easily through fear, right? Like, think about this pandemic for a minute. Think about the pandemic. Like, everybody be afraid of something that's really not that fearful, but we're going to make you be afraid and we're going to control the narrative. And then we're going to make you be so afraid and so fearful that you then separate yourselves from others. Like, it's a genius tactic, but look what it's done to our world and society and human beings in general. That we've been willing to, we're so afraid of losing something. We're so afraid of losing our lives that we are willing to be miserable and eke out one more day in this miserable state just so that we can survive. So we've lost human touch. We've lost the human connection. We've given up liberty and freedom. We have handed over sovereignty. We've handed over rights, human rights. We've handed all of that over because of fear. It's a powerful tactic and technique if you're willing to look at it and see it for what it is. Somebody says, unexpected messes or things to take care of. Yes, that will pull you out of your sovereignty for sure. Thank you, Jill. And Charlotte says, not letting go, unforgiving, trauma, and loss. Yes, all of those experiences will yank you out of the I am. Wanting to save others. Oops, just a minute. Wanting to save others from their choices. Yes. Ooh, and that's fear. Again, Olivia, thank you for sharing that. Yeah, when you want to save other people from their choices, that's Satan's plan. Like, then you're just controlling the narrative and not allowing the person to just be the person that they are. So my truth might not be your truth. My soul's journey might not be the same as your soul's journey. We don't all have to do this the same way and fit into a nice little box. Toby Lynn says, doubt, fear, resistance. Shalise, yep, I see that also clearly too. It's really sad. Olivia says, feeling like I absorb others' feelings. Awesome. That will definitely yank you out of sovereignty. as a spiritual being. Yes, absorbing. So, Olivia, I have taught you this before. When you step into the presence of others, um, don't be a sponge, be the sun and shine through that darkness, and you just be fearlessly and boldly. Here are some that I came up with. And if you guys think of any others, please feel free to share, either unmute yourself or type it into the chat. But some of the common thoughts and emotions, the lower level emotions that will bubble up and pull you out of that sovereign space as a spiritual being, are this: I'm not worthy. I'm not good enough. I sin too much. Somebody thinks I'm doing it wrong. I'm not enough. I'm nobody special. I can't be forgiven. God won't listen to me. I can't hear him. I can't receive answers. It's too hard. God doesn't love me anymore because of X, Y, or Z. I'm afraid. There's that feeling of fear again, and self doubt. We question our abilities. We question our authority. We question our worth and our value. Let's see. Here's a few more. Someone says overwhelm, going against the grain in massive ways. Yeah, when you go against the grain, guess what you're doing? In some ways, like if you feel guilt for going against the grain, usually it's because you're feeling very compelled to do that for some reason. It's your soul calling out to you, hey, we're supposed to go here. We're supposed to operate this way in this direction. But then we have cultural norms, we have religiosity, like the religious norms of societies that say, no, you have to be in this box. And if you don't fit into this nice little box and wear these kinds of clothes and say these kinds of things and do X, Y, and Z, then you're not worthy, or you're not enough, or you're going to hell, right? Like, it's just so crazy that people can control and manipulate us to that degree. The only person that can tell you who you are and where you're going is God. That's between you and God. And so if you have a good relationship with God and you can hear his voice, awesome. You will be much more sovereign. Did I miss anybody? Trying to be perfect, hiding behind walls. Yes, that's truth. When he says, be ye perfect, he is really saying, be your true self. Thank you for saying that. I have wanted to say that so many times in Relief Society or in just other settings. Like, we have so many people running around in chaos and in a frenzy, trying to become something that they think they aren't. I'm not there yet. I'm not worthy. I'm trying to attain something. Maybe if I do something, maybe if I do enough, then someday I will be enough. But if I don't fit into the perfect paradigm, have the perfect little family, do all the perfect little things exactly the way that people are telling me to do, then I'm have no worth, or I'm not there, or I'm not developed, or I haven't become, right? It's nonsense. The becoming, it's not about becoming, actually. Being a sovereign being is not about becoming, it's about being. Maybe if you be enough, it'll all just go away. All the chaos and all of the frenzied emotional stuff will go away if you learn to just be still and just be you. So thank you, Heidi, for bringing that up. Ali says, trying to be perfect, hiding behind walls. Shalise says, Satan really attacks our identity because it's such a powerful move in bringing us down in a big way. It's important to see his lies for what they really are. They're just lies. Yeah. So anytime you feel any of those emotions, lower level emotions, like I'm not enough and I'm not worthy and I'm not capable and I'm not blah, 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 those feelings and beliefs of lack and limitation in regards to yourself, your own identity, that is not coming from your higher self. It's not coming from God. It can only come from the dark side. And that is one of the first tactics, is to instill a fear in you that if you go against the grain, something bad will happen. You'll go to hell, or you'll lose your spirituality, or you'll lose your connection to God, or you'll lose your salvation, or whatever the narrative might be. And it's not about that. It's learning how to just tap into your I am and go in the direction that you are being compelled to go based on your inner self and your higher self, and checking that in with how you listen to God. These are all really good. Allie says, Janet, where's the balance between doing what you should to just being? How is that done daily with kids, teaching them the same things? How do we know the balance and teach it? Oh, I love this question so much. We could spend a whole class just talking about this question. And I do feel like there's going to be a part 2 to this class, because we're not going to get through all of this, but let's talk about that. How do we balance between the doing part of ourselves and the being? This is how I do it. This is how I was shown and taught. And you can figure it out for yourself, take it to the Lord, and have him show you what works for you. But when I was younger, I did subscribe to the, maybe if I sign up for enough to-do lists that go around in church on Sunday, then I can show the Lord that I'm enough. Maybe if I run myself to the ground serving others and trying to prove my value and my worth to myself and everyone else, then maybe I will be enough someday. And the Lord said, stop doing that. Stop running yourself to the ground. And I said, what do I do then instead? And he said, just be. Just be. And that was about the point in time where I had my mentor teach me some of these concepts of learning how to tap into the inner I am, and how to just be still and just be. Now, here's the beauty of just being. Getting up and getting still and tapping into your higher self and just sit in the beingness of your higher self for a minute and feel that. Notice it. What will happen when you do that more often, and when you learn to keep yourself in that state of beingness, your higher self, the doing will come naturally. The doing will be a byproduct. So the doing might be set a goal, make a plan, clean your house, talk to your children, get down on the floor with them. Whatever the doing is supposed to be will pop in, and it'll be very intuitive. And sometimes that might be make a plan. It might not just be fly by the seat of your pants in the beingness all the time, but maybe your being or your higher self is guiding you intuitively to do something. Go write something down. Go minister to someone. Go talk to your child. Go make a phone call. Whatever it is. Go to church. Go to the temple. Do X, Y, and Z. But don't do those things because you're using them as a tool to become something. It's not about the doing. It's about remembering who you are as a sovereign, spiritual, infinite being. It's about learning how to come from that place instead of this place, and mapping out your plan in order for you to be saved, or in order for you to have exaltation and salvation. It doesn't work that way. You don't map out a plan for those things. You learn how to surrender to the higher self and to the mind and will of God. When you can totally and completely surrender to your beingness, you are surrendering to the mind and will of God. So you got to get out of your head, and you got to actually go within into your body to access that beingness. Let's do it right now, everybody. Okay. Let's tap into our higher self.